Excellent. Well, it's been inspiring to watch everyone else today pitch and talk about the products they're working on. We at Biomilq love seeing lots of other entrepreneurs working in this space. We need all the milks we can get out in this world. But we specifically are following a cell-based protocol looking at harnessing 178 million years of evolution to create next generation science for our next generation. And what we do is create a product with the nutrition of breast milk, but the practicality of formula. And I really like to say practicality of formula because there's no parent anywhere in this world that's choosing a bovine-based formula product because they think it's easier or more convenient or better for their child. They're really just trying to find an option that fits into what they need on a daily basis. And we see that played out in the global demand for infant formula. It's estimated by 2025 that we're going to get to about $93 billion, which is growing at 9.5% year-over-year CAGR. As a food scientist who came out of the CPG world, I can tell you 9.5% gets pretty much everyone eyes wide open. Although I don't have to tell anybody here today at the Alternative Dairy Conference that there's a huge amount of growth and space in this category still. There's plenty of space for innovation, and that we see that this will continue based on trends of moms having babies later, finding opportunities to spend more per child as they're having better access to family planning, and also having higher levels of education and interest in nutrition for their children. Even with those drivers, we see parents having an incredibly hard time maintaining exclusive breastfeeding, which is what is recommended by the World Health Organization. Here in the US, it's about 84% of moms that transition their children either partially or entirely to infant formula in the first 6 months of life. This can be attributed to about $240 billion globally in GDP loss. And we know that this comes from the fact that there aren't human milk oligosaccharides, the appropriate fats, proteins, and sugars required to have in the product to be able to really support cognitive development, muscular development, and immunological development. Infant formula, while it allows babies to survive, doesn't really allow them to thrive. And I don't think I have to tell probably many of the people here who are parents that breastfeeding isn't a one-size-fits-all experience. It's really challenging for a lot of parents. And while for some moms it's beautiful, for many it's really not a reality. Sarah's my favorite quote here of our consumer interviews. She was describing to me how hard it is to keep Eamon, her son, at her breast entirely still. And while on the phone with me, going through the consumer interview, he was supermaning off her body, attached to her breast, as hard as he could. She was still exclusively breastfeeding far past the recommended months and was saying just how hard it was for her to be able to find other products that she felt good about, being able to continue to feed her son past that exclusive breastfeeding stage. Again, something I don't have to tell any of you about, we need to find better alternates to dairy. So as if it weren't enough to say breastfeeding is really challenging, it's a really large market with incredible potential for leverage points to really better humanity. We also have this little problem of planetary boundaries that we're all trying to fit within. Dairy from cows today really is harmful to the planet. And when we look at infant formula specifically, it's about 5 to 10% of the liquid global dairy market that's ending up in this product category. If we can even shave just small percentages at a time of this, we'll see huge impacts on the reduction in greenhouse gases, land use, and fresh water use. So for us, how does it work? Everyone always wants to know, great, cool that you're talking about cell-based milk, but how the heck do we actually do that? And for us, we're starting with a custom model that enables us to have one-on-one contact directly with our consumer, chat about the breastfeeding journey that they're on, and make sure that this product is the right fit for them. We then are able to have them have a small cell sample taken near them, sent to our labs here in Durham, North Carolina, in the United States. We're able to grow up those cells to a level where we can populate them in our bioreactor. We then, once the cells are at a place where they're happy, healthy, just like a herd of cows to some extent, are able to stimulate them with the nutrients and hormones they need to be able to produce milk. We collect that milk over a series of weeks and rigorously test it to ensure that it is safe and able to be processed and sent directly on to our consumer. We intend to start in this D2C model in part because we really believe parents need that connection still to the product that we're serving, that it's their milk, and also see that it scales up nicely technologically to our bioreactor size and scale for our first foray. That being said, what I've described to you is the personal use for our product. We also see and are working on a retail product that would bring us into marketplaces throughout the world and enable us to reach price points where we can be more competitive with infant formula as it sits on shelves today. We also are looking at interesting pathways for commercial licensing, especially in and outside of human milk, and also see interesting uses in adult immunocompromised populations or other populations of adults where there could be incredible benefit. Surprisingly, our elders have similar immunological and digestive system as babies, and we look at end-of-life care, there's some really unique opportunities to be able to truly serve all of humanity with a product like Biomilq. I always like to feature that we really have touched on a foundational truth. As was referenced by Willem, we've had quite a bit of press not sought by us. And I really think that this goes back to the fact that we're speaking to 50% of the population that really hasn't had biotechnology directed directly at them. It's frequent that women's health and women's tech really has not been funded appropriately. In this space, both the overlapping of food tech, infant nutrition, and women's health really has struck a chord not just with women, but also with men and parents who see an incredible potential to be able to leverage technology to truly better the way that we feed everyone in this world. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about the technology we're working on or the markets we're seeking, but really wanted to give you an overview of why we do this work, which is why Layla and I founded Biomilq and are passionate to talk about it every day that we can.